These are blue crabs, specifically the species Callinectes sapidus. There are actually several different species called blue crabs. Some of them live on land and some of them live in the water. Some are closely related to this species and some are not. These are called Atlantic blue crabs. Sometimes people will also refer to them by the area in which they live, like Maryland blue crabs or Louisiana blue crabs. They are probably the most famous species of blue crab on Earth. Let's learn all about these beautiful animals. Humans are in the phylum Chordata and the subphylum Vertebrata, aka vertebrates. Crabs, on the other hand, are in the phylum Arthropoda and the subphylum Crustacea, aka crustaceans. Thus, they are invertebrates. Like other arthropods, they have an exoskeleton, a hardened exterior surface that protects the soft internal organs. Within our subphylum, humans are part of the class known as mammals. Within the crab subphylum, they are part of the class Malacostraca. This class includes crabs, lobsters, shrimp, crayfish, and many other species. Within the mammalian class, our order is primates. Within the Malacostracan class, the blue crab's order is decapods. The term decapods comes from ancient Greek and means 10 feet. And true to their name, these crabs have 10 limbs. Within the decapod order, blue crabs are part of the family known as Portunidae, aka the swimming crabs. In this family, their rearmost pair of legs are flattened at the ends so that they can be used like a paddle. You can see how the crab swims here. Go, little crab, go! Within the swimming crab family, blue crabs are part of the genus known as Callinectes. The name means beautiful swimmer. There are at least 15 different species in this genus. Some of them also have blue coloring, like the lesser blue crab or the ornate blue crab, but not all of the species do. The members of this genus live in shallow coastal waters or in estuaries. Some species can live their whole lives in the ocean, but some of them, including Callinectes sapidus, must spend part of their youth in brackish water. This genus originated in the Atlantic neotropical coast. From there it has spread north, south, east and west. Most of the species live along the coast of the Americas, but 3 of them live along the coast of West Africa, and 3 of the species that live along the Americas actually crossed over what is now Central America millions of years ago, so now they live in the Pacific. Most of the species remain in tropical waters of the Atlantic coast. This species, Sapidus, is actually the most tolerant of cold water of all of them. It has been found as far north as Nova Scotia and as far south as Argentina. In order to survive in temperate environments, the crabs will actually hibernate for the winter. Once the water temperature drops below 10 degrees Celsius, the crabs will burrow into the sand or mud. Thus, these crabs prefer areas with soft, not rocky, bottoms. And the bottom of the water is where blue crabs spend most of their time. Like many aquatic organisms, these crabs don't have lungs. They have gills. They breathe by taking in water that then flows over their gills, and the gills absorb the dissolved oxygen in the water. The main part of the crab's body is called the cephalothorax. It is essentially the head and thorax fused together. The crab's abdomen is tucked into the bottom. The top portion is called the carapace. It is olive green with many tiny spots. The spikes at the edges are called, somewhat misleadingly, the anterolateral teeth, but they are not used for chewing, which we will talk about later in this video. The 2 big spikes at each end are called the lateral spines. Since crabs walk sideways, not forward, these can function sort of like a horn. As you can see here, when you come across a blue crab underwater, the first thing you might make contact with is the sharp end of the lateral spine. As we mentioned before, crabs have 10 limbs. They have 5 distinct pairs called periopods. The first pair are called cheilipeds. These are the crab's claws. After all, what is a crab without its claws? These are what gives the blue crab its common name. Their inside surface is a brilliant blue. The tops are green, there are bits of white, and the tips of the claws are red. In female crabs, the entire fingers of the claw may be a striking reddish-orange. The top finger, called the dactyl, is the part of the claw that can move up or down. The bottom finger, called the propedus, stays fixed. The crab brings the dactyl together with the propedus to pinch or grab. Another interesting thing about their claws is that they are not identical. One claw is the crusher claw. Its teeth are large and more rounded. The other is the cutter claw. Its teeth are smaller and sharper. If you look closely, you can see how this crab's right claw is the crusher. That's the most common arrangement, but about 14% of crabs have their left claw as the crusher. It's sort of like how most people are right-handed, but there's still a significant fraction that are left-handed. The crusher claw is better at cracking open hard-shelled food items like mussels or clams or oysters. The cutter claw is better at tearing off pieces of meat. They can also use their claws to hit, not just pinch. Further up the cheiliped, on the part called the merus, there is more blue, as well as orangish spikes. They really are quite colourful creatures. The next 3 pairs of periopods are the walking legs. The crabs use a combination of pulling with their walking legs and waving their swimming legs to propel themselves along the bottom. The last pair of periopods are the aforementioned swimming legs. The crab can use these to generate a short burst of speed to escape predators. Sometimes you will see a crab missing a limb. That is not unusual. This is because the crabs have a remarkable adaptation called autonomy. If a predator grabs one of their limbs, the crab can intentionally break off the limb at a specific place called the fracture plane. The limb can detach there without significant blood loss, and the crab can escape. Just below the middle of the carapace, we can see 3 pairs of small appendages that are critical to how the crab senses the world around it. The outermost pair are the crab's eyes. Like many arthropods, they have compound eyes. That means instead of each eye having one opening and one photoreceptive surface, each eye has thousands of separate units called ommatidia. Their eyes are positioned on the end of stalks that they can move around. This allows them to see almost 360 degrees. They can also retract the stalks to protect the eye. This can make it look like the crab is winking or blinking. In between the eyes are what is called the second antenna. They are very sensitive and can help the crab detect movement in the water. At the base of these antennae, there is a very small covering that the crab can open and close in order to release urine. So the crabs essentially pee from their face. Weird. In between the second antenna are the first antenna. These structures sort of look like little arms, as they can bend in several places. The main function of the first antenna is to help the crab smell. There are specialized chemosensory cells at the ends. The crab waves them through the water to catch odor molecules. And when it does, the antenna will reach back to put the odor molecules into a small hole in its shell, where there is an organ specialized to process smells. Below these sensory organs, you can see the crab's mouth. It is waving one of its maxillipeds, 3 small pairs of appendages that cover the mouth. The crabs can use these to grasp bits of food or to redirect the flow of water near their gills. The majority of the maxillipeds are actually not visible, as they extend far into the crab's body. Each one has an epipod, covered in tiny hair-like structures, that extends into the gill chamber, where it cleans the gills and helps circulate water. If you look into the 2 holes above the mouth, you can see the epipods moving. These holes are the exhalant apertures, or where the crab exhales water. That raises the question, where does the crab inhale water? Strangely, the answer is these openings just above where the chelipeds enter the body. From this angle, we can also see the ends of the first and second maxillipeds. The crabs can move these back and forth very quickly, up to 16 times per second. Behind the maxillipeds, we can see the ends of the mandible, those 2 little white things. The crab brings them together to crush food. After being handled by their claws, their maxillipeds, and their mandible, you would think that the food is ready for digestion once it goes down the esophagus. But actually, the food goes from the esophagus into what is called the foregut. Inside there are many tiny calcified ossicles that further grind up their food. This is important because the most significant source of food for adult blue crabs are bivalves. Bivalves are animals like clams, mussels, and oysters. These animals have very hard shells, but not too hard for the blue crab. Here you can see it spitting out ground-up pieces of these shells. Blue crabs are not picky eaters. They eat a wide range of animals, including other crabs, as you can see here. They also eat fish, other crustaceans, small invertebrates, bristleworms and snails. They are both hunters and scavengers. They are also omnivorous, eating plants and detritus. Their diet also changes with age. For example, adults are more likely to eat bivalves and fish, and juveniles are more likely to eat plant matter. On the underside of the crab towards the back, you can see its abdomen. The male, on top, has a different shaped abdomen than the female. Hers is more triangular, indicating that she is still a juvenile. But she won't be for long. We know that because these 2 crabs are paired up as a doubler. That means they are going to mate, but possibly not for several days. As much as a week before mating, and several days afterwards, the crabs will pair up like this, with the male cradle carrying the female. They will only be able to mate once she molts into a soft shell crab. Her abdomen after this molt will be a different shape than before, indicating that she is now an adult. With these 2 mating crabs, you can see the female's adult-shaped abdomen, which is temporarily separated from the thorax. The female crab mates just once in her lifetime, and incredibly, that is enough for her to produce millions of eggs. And thus the life cycle of this incredible creature will continue.